Okay, these are our notes, right? These are our notes for section 3.4, graphing linear equations in slope-intercept form. So in our last lesson, we looked at the equation y equals mx. And so this is based on that. This just adds an extra thing, plus b. So we're going to talk about that today. So the first key idea that we have here is the x-intercept of a line is the x-coordinate of the point where the line crosses the x-axis, So if you see over here, we have the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. That's the x-intercept where it crosses that point right there. And then similarly, the y-intercept of a line is the y-coordinate of the point where it crosses the y-axis. So like right here, this is our y-intercept because it's where it crosses the y-axis. And that's the most important one that we're going to use is the y-intercept. So y-intercept, notice it's b, and it's what we're adding to our formula right there, the y-intercept. Okay? So as we work with this, we have our lines, and they're going to cross the x-axis and the y-axis there. Okay, now we're going to look at something we're going to talk about a lot over the next several years of your math career is the slope-intercept form. So put an asterisk by that. This is a very important equation and form of an equation that you're going to use a lot. The slope-intercept form is a linear equation written in the form of y equals mx plus b. Written in the form y equals mx plus b is in the slope-intercept form. Right, so y equals mx plus b is in the slope-intercept form. So it gets its name from two things, the slope and the y-intercept, the slope-intercept form. The slope of the line is m, right? So in our equation, the slope is m, just like we've been talking about, and the y-intercept, so we have our slope is m, and the y-intercept is this b, the b right there. Has to be a lowercase b. So right here, y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. Okay? All right, and these are very useful for many different things to do, many different applications, and so we're going to use that. You're going to use this a lot over the next several years. Okay, so just a couple of real basic things. Identify the slope and the y-intercept. Remember, so we're using this equation, y equals mx plus b, right? So m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. That's where it would cross the y-axis. Okay, so first of this, they want you to find the slope and the y-intercept. All right, so what is the slope? The slope is right in this number right in front of the x. So in this case, it is -4. And then the b is the y-intercept. It's this number that's at the end, which is -2. And that's it. You have your slope, you have your y-intercept. Okay? Now, one thing we did not talk about is that notice that y is on this side over here by itself. Y has to be on the side all by itself. Okay? So if we look at example B here, y is not by itself. We have this -5. So we have to get the y all by itself. So to do that, in this case, we need to move this to the other side, right? So on the left side here, I have y. Now y is all alone. So you just bring down the 3 over 2x plus 5. Okay? So it has to be in this form. Y has to be all alone on the left. Okay, so now what is the slope? The slope is the number right in front of the x, so it's 3 over 2. And the intercept is a positive 5. Notice if we had not moved it, we would have accidentally put in a -5. So we had to move it over, so it was the correct value right there. Okay. Now I want you to try that yourself on these two problems here at the bottom. Okay, so on number 1, the slope is the number right in front of the x. So that's going to be the 3. And the intercept is this number over here at the end, so it's a -7. And then on number 2, the y is not alone, right? Y has to be alone, so we have to add the 1 to both sides. So it cancels the 1 out. So y is equal to, bring down your -2/3 x, and then plus 1. Okay, so they're not like terms, so you can't combine them together. So our slope, therefore, is -2/3. And our intercept is +1, just like that. Okay, now we are going to use those two pieces of information to graph. Okay? So graphing a linear equation in slope-intercept form, and here's our example we're going to use, y equals -3x plus 3. All right, and then it says to identify the x-intercept. Where does it cross the x-axis? Okay, so step 1, underline step 1, find the slope and the y-intercept, because those are the two things we're going to use to be able to graph this. Okay, so the slope is -3, and the intercept is 3. Okay, now, so whenever we're going to plot this, we're going to, first of all, identify those things, and then step 2, underline step 2, we're going to use the y-intercept first. So the y-intercept, in other words, b, is 3, all right? So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with that right there. And let me redo this. So I always teach it like this. Start with b. Start with your intercept. So in this case, our intercept is +3, right there. All right, so where's this? 1, 2, 3. It's right there. So we're going to plot that first. So start with b, then use the slope. Right? Then use the slope. Okay. Now, they give you an example right here of what we're supposed to do with that. So our slope is -3, but to be able to do the graphing, we need it as a fraction. So you need to put -3 over 1. And then they tell you exactly what to do right here. 1 unit. We're not going to follow that. We're not going to follow that. So from where we put B, right, we're going to do the top first. So this means we're going to go down 3, and then right 1. Because this right here, right, this is your y, your change in y, and this is your change in x. So we're going to go this right here, down 3, and then this is right 1. Right, so we start right here at B, the point we just did, and we go down 3. So we go 1, 2, 3, and then right 1. Okay, and then we're going to do it again. From that new point we did, we go down 1, 2, 3, and then right 1. Okay, and then we're going to draw our line. Okay, so that's how we plot this using the intercept and then using the slope. So you start with the intercept and then you use the slope to tell you how to draw the other points. Okay? Now, the question is, what is the x-intercept? Right? What is the x-intercept? So in this case, the x-intercept is right here, 1, 0. Right? What is the name of that point? 1, 0. Okay, so the x-intercept is 1, 0. So we had to graph it and tell what the x-intercept was. Okay. All right, let's do another example here. All right. Now, so the two things we need to graph is the slope. Now in this one, what number is right in front of this? When there's not a number written, it's considered to be 1. Now, we're going to write it as a fraction because we need it as a fraction to be able to graph. Now, the other thing we need is the y-intercept. Now, notice that this time it's a -4. Okay? So, now, to graph this, number 1, start with the intercept. So we're going to go -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our first point, is right down there. Now the slope here, since it's a 1, that means we're going to go up 1. Let me kind of move that over. Up 1, and then the 1 on the bottom means we go right 1. So we're going to go up 1, right 1. So you start at your intercept that you just did, up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. And then we'll draw that line. All right, and so what is the x-intercept? The x-intercept is at, well, let's look, it's right here. And that's going to be 4, 0. Because it's right on the x-axis. So it's 4, 0. Okay, so I want you to try number 4 on your own, okay? Try number 4 on your own, and then we'll come back and see how you did it. Okay, so again, what we have to do is we have to identify the slope and the intercept. So number 1, the slope is -1/2, and the intercept is at 1, just a +1. So when we start graphing, do this first. Where's that? +1 for the y-intercept is right there. Now, for the slope, this negative is going to go, we're going to put it with the top. We're going to put it with the top. So since it's think of this as a -1, a -1. So that means we're going to go down 1, and then the bottom is a +2, so we're going to go right 2. So always put the negative with the top. Put the negative with the top. All right, so we'll start at our intercept, and we go down 1 and right 2. Down 1 and right 2. Okay, so then we'll sketch our line. Okay, then we'll go this way as well. All right, and then the other question is, where is the y-intercept? Excuse me, not the y-intercept, the x-intercept. Where is the x-intercept? So where does it cross the the x-axis? It's going to be right there at 2, 0. Okay. Don't like the line I did very much. Anyway. All right. Okay. Now we're going to do this modeling in real life. Okay, the cost y in dollars of taking a taxi X miles is represented by the equation of 2.5x plus 2. So graph the equation. Interpret the y-intercept and the slope at the end. Okay? Now, so just like we did on these other problems, to graph it, we need the slope. So the slope is 2.5. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a second. Then the intercept is the 2. Okay, now 2.5, that's not very helpful to us. So what I want us to do is we're going to use our calculator to help us change that to a fraction that we can use. So let's go over to our calculator, and we're going to put in there 2.5 and press enter. All right, but so now after I press enter, I'm going to hit my toggle switch here, and notice that it changes it to 5/2. It's 5/2. Okay, so let's go back over here. So this changes to 5/2. Okay, that's going to help us because now, right, 5 means to go up 5, and the 2 means to go right 2. So that's why we need it as the fraction, so that we can have these, follow these instructions. All right, so where do we start plotting? We start plotting with the intercept, right? Always start with the intercept. So B is 2, so that's where we start. And then we're going to follow the slope. So we'll go up 5 and right 2. So start right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, like that right there. All right, and then we're going to sketch that out. All right, good. And now we're going to interpret that, what that means. Okay, so whenever you're taking a taxi, sometimes there's a base fee. So everyone has a $2, right? That's why it doesn't start at 0, like what we did before. This one doesn't start at 0, 0. Okay, it starts up here because there's a $2 fee just for getting into the taxi. So when you get into the taxi, it's a basic $2 fee that you begin with. You don't start at $0, you start at $2. Then the slope here, 2.5x, means $2.50 per mile, right? So remember, the X is miles, right? X is miles. So it's $2 to begin with, just to get into the taxi, and then it's $2.50 per mile. So as we look at the Y, or the cost, right? Y is the cost. It equals $2.50 per mile plus your $2 basic fee for getting into the taxi to begin with. Okay, good job.